What is wrong with this pen?
Good afternoon. We have a quorum present, and I'd like to call the August 9th, 2016 meeting of the Board of Education to order. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we will begin with approval of the agenda.
Madam President, I move for the approval of the agenda as recommended by the Agenda Planning Committee.
Dr. Harding's a second. Oxford. Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor? 7-0. Thank you. And we have the minutes to be approved. We have 4 sets, so this is going to be a little convoluted, so bear with us.
Madam President, I move for approval of the minutes of the closed session dated Tuesday, July 5th, 2016.
July, 5th, got it. A
2016.
second. Thank you, Mrs. Williams.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the set of closed session minutes for July 5th? All those in favor? So we have 5 abstentions. We have 2. Okay, next.
Madam President, I move for approval of the minutes for the closed session held on Tuesday, July 19th, 2016.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the closed session from July 19th? All those in favor? 1, 4. Those abstaining? And 3. Next set.
Madam President, I move for acceptance of the minutes of the business meeting for Tuesday, July 5th, 2016.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
It's 2016. July 19th, 2016. Okay,
Sounds
second.
like this-
Thank you, Mr. Ridenour. No, that's fine. Any discussion on those minutes?
This is for July 5th.
Correct. What we're hearing is 2016, and people are thinking July 16. I just clarified that for
5th.
Mrs. Fisher.
This is for the 5th.
Correct. All those in favor? All those abstaining? Thank you. And final.
And finally, I move for approval of the minutes for the business meeting held on Tuesday, July 19th, 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those? All those in favor? Abstentions? Very good. Thank you. All right, public comments. No one has signed up this afternoon. Has anyone come in afterwards who would like to address the board? Okay. Seeing none, that takes us to, there's no unfinished business, so that moves to reports to the board. Dr. Wilcox?
Thank you. Today we're going to have the first public acknowledgement of a new public-private partnership for auditorium improvements at Boonesboro High School. Principal Sherry Hamilton is here, and she'll be accompanied by Dr. Boyd Michael, who is our Deputy Superintendent and responsible for facilities and operations, along with staff attorney Anthony Trotta.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, President Brightman, Dr. Wilcox, members of the board. We're excited today about a new private-public partnership possibility for Washington County, in particular Boonesboro High School. Today we're going to give you a little bit of details about the potential partnership, and then later in the meeting we'd like to ask the board if they would consider going ahead and moving forward with architect design services for the project in hopes that the project will all come together for next summer and be ready for the new school year. So with that, I'd like to ask Mr. Trotta just to give you some brief details of where we are in the process right now, and then Dr. Hamilton and the group would be available to respond to any questions. Mr. Trotta?
Good afternoon. We received a request from the principal of Boonesboro High School and the Nora
Talk into the
Roberts
microphone, please.
Nora Roberts Foundation to consider a public-private partnership. I just want to briefly describe the nature of the project. It would consist of a complete upgrade and modernization of the school's auditorium. The sound and lighting system will be upgraded, the stage enlarged, and several areas in and around the auditorium would be enhanced. At this point, we have an estimated cost for the project, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we go forward. The estimated cost at this point is $1.3 million. We have a commitment from the foundation, the Nora Roberts Foundation, of $600,000 over the next 5 years. Additionally, there's a request that the board provide $300,000 in funding. There's an expectation as we move forward that the additional funding will be provided by an individual to support the project. We are also expecting the community to provide some additional funding for the project. During the business meeting today, we'll be requesting the board simply to take a first step today, and that first step will allow us to have a better understanding of the costs of the project. We will be asking you to approve a contract for the architect to design the project, and we certainly would be glad to entertain any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Didn't know if Dr. Hamilton would like to give us any background or your perspective. And thank you for taking time out from getting moved into the school, and appreciate you taking time to come out here this afternoon.
Thank you, everyone, for having this opportunity. And I do apologize for my attire. Like she said, I was swept away from moving furniture at the school, but thank you for being here, or thank you for allowing me to be here. And yeah, the possibility to enhance this space for students, my hair stands up on my arms. I'm so excited, and I hope you feel the same way, that if we can make this space come to life for our performing arts students, that would be tremendous. And I will answer any questions that I have the answers to.
Thank you. Okay. This is just informational at this point. You'll notice that the action item is later on in our consent agenda. But if you have any questions at this point in time, please ask them. Dr. Harding?
I don't have any questions, just a comment or two. All you had to do is go to the production of Godspell at the school last year to realize, well, two things really. Number one is how creative and clever the staff and the students are in making use of the space that's there. You couldn't help but come away having seen how they sort of reconfigured the stage and added on to the stage and did all sorts of clever things to make that work in that space. So thanks to Mr. Baer and the rest of the staff there for the really spectacular job they do in using what is there. But the second thing you come away with is thinking they could really use an upgrade to this space. So it's great to see that this has happened. I know there's been some talk in the community about whether this could happen for quite a while, and thanks to Dr. Hamilton and thanks to the Nora Roberts Foundation and all the others involved in trying to get this to this stage. I think it's a project that could be a great model for what could be done elsewhere in the county, just as for the Boonesboro scoreboard project was a model for, I think, what Clear Spring's doing and perhaps some other places around the county. So I think this is a win all the way around. It's great to see us investing in the arts, and I can tell you for sure the arts are alive and well on the Boonesboro campus. One other thing I'll say that's alive and well, Dr. Hamilton, since you're here and since I was at your graduation last fall, or spring rather, I think the graduating class left a donation to clean up the courtyard.
They did.
Is that?
That is
And
correct.
I was in the school yesterday for the fall sports sort of orientation, and the courtyard really looks spectacular. So whoever put in the elbow grease to make that happen, thank you, because it looks inviting and just like a great place you might want to go and relax.
Thank you for noticing and pointing that out. Thank you.
I will just add on that, I may be incorrect, but I don't think I am, that I think Dr. Hamilton rolled up her sleeves and went out into the courtyard and did a lot of the painting herself. And I would just say this is the usual, not the unique in this county, with the level of commitment that our principals and staff and teachers all take and the pride they take in their facilities. And I will just add on that this is just another great example of a public-private partnership and how we can leverage those dollars. As we all know, it's harder and harder to find the money to do these projects with. So with the private dollars coming forward, and I know the Nora Roberts Foundation has always been very generous in the Boonesboro area. So this is tremendous. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from my colleagues? Thank you very much for the report. Dr. Wilcox, any comments?
Only to say that this is the third or fourth public-private partnership that we've entered into, if you begin back with the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts. And I think what we're seeing is a new tradition in the construction of public school facilities, where communities embrace their schools, schools embrace their communities, and then wise boards find a way to leverage dollars to be financially responsible to all of our taxpayers. So I want to say thank you very much to you, Sherry, for your leadership at the school, because quite honestly, we would not be where we are today had it not been for you actually picking up the bull by the horns and saying, let's get this done. Mrs. Brightman, thank you for helping to make the contact with the with the foundation, the Nora Roberts Foundation, because quite honestly, this seed money means the world to us. We're looking to do this project right, members and ladies of the board, because we believe that there might be some leverage that we can use at some of our other facilities down the road if we do this well. So we're excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Back to moving.
Back to moving and pulling weeds in the courtyard.
I have a daughter who's going to be a freshman in your school who loves to pull weeds, so don't be afraid to put her to work.
Okay, moving on to new business, and we have the same individuals presenting, plus,
Scott Patel.
yep, Mr. Marriott, thank you. This isn't the consent agenda yet.
Oh, I thought this was the new business item.
It's the Clear Spring
Sorry,
High
I lost
School.
my head. I see why the last meeting went shorter, Mr.
See, I did
Gesford.
the
It was
same.
because I wasn't here. You pointed that out to me. Thank you.
All right, we're number one.
All
Under
right, so
consideration, their
now-
Clear Spring High School public-private partnership.
So this is an action item we're requesting the board's consideration. An MOU has been developed with the
An
Clear Spring
MOU is, just explain.
Memorandum of Understanding.
Great,
Sorry.
thank
With the Clear Spring community, their desire to install a new scoreboard for their stadium use has been something in the community for the last year or so. Mr. Marriott's been working with a variety of community members to help this get pulled together. And at this point, we're ready to move forward with the purchase of a scoreboard. But first, we need to have your approval of the memorandum of understanding with the community members that have supported this project. The scoreboard is due for an upgrade, and traditionally, Washington County Public Schools provides about $25,000 for outside scoreboards. The other scoreboards we support are indoor scoreboards used for basketball, volleyball. They're kind of multi-purpose scoreboards. So the opportunity existed for the community to leverage the $25,000 available from our traditional funds here at the Board of Education, and then add to those funds to enhance the opportunity for a more, enhanced scoreboard is the way to describe it. And with that, I'll ask Mr. Trout again just to share some highlights of the memorandum and the project, and then we're available to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Thank you. The estimated cost of this project is $92,000. The community has raised $65,000. It's a combination of naming rights that appear in the Memorandum of Understanding, which we'll be seeking your approval of this afternoon, and contributions from the community. As Dr. Michael mentioned, There is a set aside in the athletic department's budget for projects of this nature. $25,000 has been allocated for this particular project. And also, there will be an additional $5,000 in-kind contribution from the school system as it relates to the electrical services that are required to install the new scoreboard. We'll be requesting the board at this time to move forward with the approval of the memorandum of understanding. We've provided that for you. It's in your board packets. And also during the procurement part of the meeting this afternoon, there will be an item for the board's consideration, which is the purchase of the scoreboard. Thank you.
Thank you. This is an action item, requires a motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the public-private partnership with various Clear Spring High School community donors for the purchase and installation of a new scoreboard at Clear Spring High School.
Thank you, Mr. Ridenhour. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gesford. Okay. Opportunity for questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Marriott, would you like to
I'd like to
make-
thank you on behalf
Yes.
of Clear Spring High School, its athletic boosters, as well as all the athletes and band members that utilize this particular area. And I think that upgrading this particular scoreboard will bring a better experience, a very, I guess, a modern experience for our athletes and our coaches, as well as some of our students that are interested in sports broadcasting, who are also, up in the, I always call it the observation tower, but I guess the, press box, sorry. But we really do appreciate it, and it's been something, a labor of love, and I know I've learned a lot in this process, and I'd like to thank, Dr. Michael and Mr. Trotta and the rest of the staff, and I appreciate your vote on this. Thank you very much.
Very good.
We certainly want to thank our community partners. It's a combination of not just one partner, but many, many partners in the community that were able to pull this money together and make this happen.
Weren't there a number of businesses? Is that like
Businesses,
40-some?
parents, just a combination of people.
Excellent. Clear Spring has such a giving community. It's such a strong sense of community. It's great.
Can I
Yes,
offer a
Dr.
comment? I just,
Harkins.
it occurs to me as we're continuing with these projects, when 8 years ago, when I first started running for the board, when I first ran for the board, and the North High Stadium project was ongoing, and I heard a lot from people, how come North High gets that and the rest of us don't? And I think a lot of us said, roll up your sleeves and make something happen. How can they get a better scoreboard, or how can they get a better? And clearly that was a public-private partnership project that was of another scale. But as you look around the county now and you see the scoreboard at Boonesboro, the scoreboard that will be at Clear Spring, the athletic facilities now at Williamsport, I've heard of other groups out there trying to raise money to put turf in fields. I think people have heard the message that there are opportunities to do this. I think the board's committed to it. And while North may have been the first and the biggest example of what can be done, there are communities all over the county that are taking advantage of that model. And I think it's a great thing for our athletes. It's a great thing for our thespians. It's a great thing for all the students and the environments that they learn in. So thanks and congratulations to Clear
very
Spring
much.
for making this happen.
Very appreciative. Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? Okay. Seeing none, the vote is on Mr. Ridenhour's motion. All those in favor? All those in favor of the motion? Do I have I'm trying to see all the hands. Mrs. Williams, was that a yay or?
That was a yay.
Okay, looks like we have 7-0 on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that takes us to the second item under new business, consideration of the consent agenda. Mr. Bachtel, how do you, Bachtel?
Yeah, no, Bechtel, you were right.
Bachtel, I was right, okay. Long A, very good. Thank you, and welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Today I bring two procurements for your review. The first being the design service for Boonesboro High School auditorium, RFQ 2017-03. Staff is recommending award to Bushy Fife Moran Architects at a total cost of $80,970. The second is the Keystone Purchasing Network bid 012-H, and that is for a scoreboard at Clear Spring High. Staff is recommending award to Daktronics at a total cost of $63,659. And staff is here for any questions you might have.
Very good. Thank you. You did well.
Thank you.
Welcome again, by the way. All right, this is an action item requiring a motion.
Madam President, move to approve purchase of design services for the Boonesboro High School auditorium, and which would go to Bushy Fink and Moran Architects at $80,970, and the scoreboard for Clear Spring High School to Daktronics at $63,659.
Thank you, Mr. Ridenhour. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Questions, discussion on these two items? Mrs. Fisher.
Well, I'm very glad to say that we've had great success with the few private-public partnerships that we've done in the past. And I'm very happy also to see these projects coming forward. I do have one concern. I will be voting for these, but I still do have a concern that we do not have a memorandum of understanding in place yet for the Boonesboro project. But I will be voting for the consent agenda.
Thank you. Other questions on either item? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? 7-0. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to item 3, consideration of a reappointment of Washington County Board of Education representatives to the Maryland Association of Boards of Education's Legal Service Association. Mr. Trotta has been serving as the primary appointment with Mr. Ridenhour as his alternate, and they have offered to serve again for the next term. And so, again, this is an action item requiring a motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the reappointment of Washington County Board of Education's representatives to the Maryland Association of Boards of Education's Legal Services Association.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Ridenhour. Any questions on this map?
Thank you.
What did I just say? I'm
Dr.
sorry,
Dr.
Dr.
Ridenhour.
Hart.
Dr. Ridenhour, that's all right.
If you're passing them out, I'll take one too.
Hang on, here's the football. For when I mess up, I start throwing the football. Okay. That was a motion by Mrs. Fisher and a second by Dr. Hardings, correct?
Yes.
Yes. May the record reflect that. Thank you. Okay, we're up for questions, comments. Okay, all those in favor, please signify. Okay, 7-0. Thank you very much. Okay, that finishes our action items and takes us on to the superintendent report. Dr. Wilcox.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of quick items. One, yesterday afternoon or yesterday morning, we welcomed 116 new teachers to the district. It was an exciting day. It was also an opportunity for us to not only get to know them, but to help them understand the culture of Washington County Public Schools. So again, I would just offer my welcome to those new teachers who might be tuning in a little bit later today. This evening, we will be taking our new teachers to a Hagerstown Suns game. It's a team-building exercise. We hope that some of you as board members can stop in. We'll be feeding them a little bit of game day dinner with hamburgers, hot dogs, and soft drinks, beginning at about 5:30 and ending about 7:30. Game time is 7:05. We hope you'll come root on the Hagerstown Suns to a win. We are getting close to approaching school. We have all of our veteran teachers coming back later this week, and we're really excited to welcome them. I think our custodial teams, our maintenance teams, and really countless others have done yeoman's work over the summer getting our schools ready. Our facilities, I think, are taking on the air of welcome for our students who will be coming back shortly after that. So again, board members, the next time we meet, we will have had school up and running for about a week and maybe a week and a half, and I will give you a report on opening day enrollments as well as how well we think it went. Just for the board members' edification, I do want to say that we are nearly fully staffed. I believe we have 1.5 positions yet to fill, and we continue to work on that every hour until school opens. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to personnel action. Mrs. Francisco.
Mrs. Brightman, Dr. Wilcox, members of the board, as discussed earlier today in closed session, there are several personnel actions for your review and approval.
Thank you. A motion, please, on personnel.
Madam President, I move for the approval of personnel actions as recommended by staff.
Thank you, Dr. Hardings. A second?
Second.
Mrs. Fisher? Okay. Okay, personnel action before us. All those in favor? Okay, 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, brings us to reports to the board. Start with Mrs. Harshman.
HR has not met. We had some conflicts of scheduling, so we will be meeting Tuesday, August 23rd at 9 o'clock in the Washington Room on the 3rd floor. The agenda will be posted and everyone is invited.
Thank you. Mrs. Williams.
Yes, the next meeting of the Finance Committee is scheduled for Tuesday, August 30th, 3rd floor conference room.
Thank you. Mr. Gessford.
The Facilities Committee will be meeting on the same date of August the 23rd at 7:45 a.m., also in the 3rd floor conference.
And everyone's remembering we have our meeting on the 23rd, so we've adjusted our committees accordingly. Okay. Mrs. Fisher.
Policy Committee met on July 26th. HR Director Laura Francisco provided the committee with some background information on the Diversity Task Force. After much discussion, it was suggested that an ad hoc committee to work on the format, goal, charge, and membership of a group to replace the current Diversity Task Force be created. Our Human Resource Department can only do so much to recruit and hire a more diverse workforce when new hires are considering not just where they'll work, but where they'll live as well. Therefore, we felt that the effort needs to extend throughout Washington County community and therefore needs to involve local governments, members of local governments, as well as representatives of housing, transportation, cultural needs, social needs, and religious representatives as well. The composition of the ad hoc committee and its charge will be forthcoming. Next, the committee considered the comments and suggestions made by members of various school fundraising groups, as well as those made by our finance department regarding the new fundraising policy. We made several changes to the draft based on these particular items. Those changes have been made to the online draft as well, so the public can read those. We will continue to consider concerns from stakeholders by email or letter sent to the board's attorney, Mr. Tony Trotta. We plan to have the draft ready for a first read at the August 23rd board business meeting. The Policy Committee's next meeting is August 16th at 9 a.m. in the board meeting room.
Thank you. Mr. Ridenhour.
The Curriculum Instruction Committee will not be meeting this in September to allow our staff to prepare for the opening of school, get everything up and running. We will meet then again in October.
Thank you very much. Any additional, what I do now, Mrs. Williams?
He said September and October.
I'm sorry,
Did you mean
September.
August and
In
September?
Yeah, September.
Okay.
Thank you.
A month ahead of myself.
Okay. Any additional reports, committee reports? Mabe?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Moving on to future agenda items, just a couple things for everyone to make note of. Going forward, we have had confirmation of a joint meeting with the county commissioners at our next meeting on August 23rd at 2 o'clock here in the auditorium. That will certainly be on your agenda in the packets on Thursday. We'll mainly be discussing the urban improvement project at that time. Also, I'd like to remind my colleagues that in your Thursday packet, you received a letter and form from MABE President Warner Sumter regarding committee assignments. Please fill those in and get those back to us, and we'll vote on that. I believe it's going to be September 6th. So try to get those back as soon as possible so we can tabulate. I think we had some of the best participation last year on the committees, so I'm hoping everyone will offer to serve again on those. A couple other items we are moving in. I know it's hard to believe into the pre-legislative session. We will be setting up a work session to discuss our core values, our legislative platform, any legislative initiatives, and the makeup of our legislative response team that will be coming forward. And once that is finalized, we will be sending a copy of that to the county commissioners and certainly trying to arrange a joint meeting with the delegation as we have in the past prior to the opening of the General Assembly. All right. Anything anyone would like us to consider under future agenda items? Okay, that brings us to board member comments. Mr. Ridenour.
Nothing at this time, Mrs. Wright.
Mrs. Fisher.
Just that I wish that the teachers have a great first day back on the 17th, I believe it is. And it just, in a way, it doesn't seem like it's possible. It's back to a new year of school. Summer went by quickly.
The older we get, the quicker it goes by.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. Gessford.
I have nothing today.
Dr. Hardings.
Just a quick word of thanks to all those involved with the New Teacher Academy. I followed it. I attended the lunch yesterday, thanks to the Greater Hagerstown Committee for sponsoring that. But mostly I followed the New Teacher Academy on social media, and the new teachers who were tweeting about it, and the staff members, even the superintendent a few times. You didn't even have to be in the room to feel the energy that was in the room. And I think that was reflected on the article that the newspaper did this morning, and I think also indicates one of the other ancillary benefits of being a sort of forward-leaning school system, which is there were at least two teachers who were quoted in that article who had taught elsewhere and were in Washington County for the first time, who were sort of stunned by the amount of technology we have and the resources that they were given even on their very first day in the school system as a new teacher. I think as we continue to get that word out, we will become more and more appealing as a destination for teachers, principals, all manner of employees. I think they will see Washington County as not only a great place to work and live, but as a school system that really is investing in their employees and in their students. So kudos to Dr. Wilcox. I saw Joni Burkhart running around organizing that event, and a number of other staff. It's a great way to welcome new teachers, to show them what Washington County really is all about. So thank you all.
Thank you. Dr. Wilcox, any additional comments?
I would just share what all the board members have said, and we look forward to doing great things this year. It'll be terrific.
Excellent. Mrs. Williams.
Yes, I'd just like to extend a warm welcome to the 116 new hires. Welcome to Washington County Public Schools family. And best wishes to all of those in the system, the start of a great new school year.
Harshman.
I would like to let all of our educators in any form that are out there at the schools know how much they are appreciated and how much time and energy it is obvious that they have dedicated to our children and our community. And I would love to see those of us here spend time in schools substituting for someone who maybe needs a day that they've run out of substitute pay. So I am willing to do that, and I hope my colleagues will.
My apologies. I forgot during personnel actions to mention, and we spoke about it earlier today, it appears once again that we are in need of bus drivers. I commend our staff in the efforts that they're making to fill those positions. But I would like our staff, and we mentioned this before, to try to come up with some ideas as to how we can entice people to come and what the ancillary cost of that would be. Is there a way that we can get them more time, put them in a position that they can have benefits, full benefits, and some type of, does not have to be, just come back with some ideas for us at a future date.
We will absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will close with some just short, brief additional comments on the new Teacher Academy. I had the honor of sitting in under Dr. Wilcox's presentation, and about 10 minutes into that presentation, I think it was a setup, but I could be wrong. Someone, one of the new teachers, raised his hand to be recognized and mentioned he didn't have an iPad. And the next thing you know, it went from Dr. Wilcox saying, here's my iPad, let's give him mine, and oh, by the way, you probably want one, and then you probably want one, and the next thing you know, the Santa Claus music started, and the doors opened, and all of the staff, principals, assistant principals, everyone carrying iPads came into the room and handed them out. And I just have to tell you the amount of energy, the feeling of being special. Again, Team WCPS, what a great way to send these new employees of our system off to their first year. I would add that we continue to mentor these new teachers for a full year. And they are a cohort. And I know Joni does great work and other staff to really be sure that they have the one-on-one attention. And I think they went away, hopefully from the full week, but from yesterday, knowing that we as a system, as a superintendent, as a board, we have their backs. And we're here to help them succeed. So I think a great start, and thank you, Dr. Wilcox.
Well, thank you, but clearly it's not just the superintendent. There are hundreds of other employees who make these kind of things happen. It's not just Joni. Joni does a marvelous job, but she has 4 mentor teachers that, quite honestly, this board reinstated because we had let go in some earlier budget decisions. So you should share in some of the success as well as a board. Thank you.
Well done. All right, happy first day of school on the 17th, and we'll see everyone back here on the 23rd. That takes us to the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned. Thank you.